Yo. Tyler Keith, plugged on. We're here with a ranking. Once again, we've done a few of these. We've done all the Metallica albums, Iron Maiden albums, Star Wars movies.
Took a left turn there, but that's fine.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are fun to do, and someone asked if we could do Megadeth albums, so that's what we're here to do. It's Megadeth. Megadeth has 15 albums. We're going to put them all in order. Going to throw something out here. Megadeth has a group of albums that should be at the top, a very obvious group of albums that are at the bottom, and the middle can kind of go wherever the fuck they need to go.
Like completely.
So your list might be completely different.
Yeah, like the top 5, bottom 3, and then everything else.
Yes. So we're here to put them in. Megadeth's had a lot of different eras over the years, and just a lot of different styles, and it's kind of weird to compare some of them, to be honest with you. But fucking why not?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So starting at number 15, we have Risk from 1999. Risk. I feel most people would probably say this is Megadeth's worst album. So this was the last album that Marty Friedman was on. They wanted to go to a more alternative and poppy sound with this album and do something different, and it just didn't work. Just did not work. The thing that I fucking hate about this album is just the sound of it is atrocious to me. Like, I just cannot stand it. There's nothing redeeming about it, and then the songwriting just feels so forced and not natural and bizarre. Like, Insomnia's bad, Crush'em's bad,
Breadline, another bad one.
I'll
Prince of
There.
Darkness. There's another one that jumped out. That might have been it.
Yeah. I have never been able to listen to this album from start to finish.
Nope.
It's just really hard to do. And I mean, hey, it's Megadeth trying something new, but it just, to me, it falls flat on its face. So yeah. Number 14, we have The World Needs a Hero. This is from 2001.
Like the next album, isn't it?
Yes. So Megadeth's still not on a good streak here. The World Needs a Hero, to me, is the most forgettable Megadeth album. You might think of Risk because of how bad it is and how they tried to do different stuff, but this album is so fucking forgettable. Every single song on it is just really not that great. The only thing that stands out to me is the main riff in Disconnect, the first track. The main riff's kind of neat, but the rest of it is just not great. But I don't want to Return to the Hangar.
But dude, Return to the Hangar. Yeah, the other song that comes to mind that I really don't like is Recipe for Hate, Warhorse. I listened to this is another album that I listened to for the first time when we decided to do this list. I'm like, this song is terrible. What am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, Dread and The Fugitive Mind. I'm just like, there's just. It's weird because I actually like over the past, because we've been listening to them for the past few days. Like I've been listening to mostly Megadeth. I don't remember much from this album.
I don't either.
Like again, I remember thinking Disconnect. Oh, this first riff, yeah, that's really cool. And then it's like, oh, wow.
It's so boring to listen to, and it doesn't start out bad, but then it just, I think the longer it goes on, the more it's just kind of taking its own hole. To be honest with you, it's not great. Number 13, we have Super Collider. Now, Super Collider, probably pound for pound, is a worse album than The World Needs a Hero. Yeah. But at least Super Collider can be fun to listen to because of how bad it is at times. We'll just start, saying, someone will start saying the lyrics to Super Collider, and all of a sudden we're singing the entire song.
Yep.
It's an awful song.
It's terrible. It's got a cool drum beat. That's about the best I can give it.
At least there's some hooks to some of these songs, not in a good way, though. Like, this album is really, really bad. I don't want to say that this album is good at all. It's not.
Kingmaker. Yeah.
Dance in the Rain.
Oh,
with David Draymond.
Don't turn your back on Friend.
On Friend. Yeah.
And there's a Thin Lizzy cover. That was pretty okay.
I think one of the things that makes this album that much harder to swallow is that, like,
is it's two bookends on either side.
Yes. Like, Megadeth came back, which we'll get to later, with The System Has Failed in 2004. And that album's not bad. It's like, oh, Megadeth's back to kind of kicking a little bit of ass, at least. And then they got better with United Abominations. Endgame was okay. 13 was alright. So they're on this streak of, like, solid albums with a good handful of songs, I think, on each album to enjoy. And then there's just this. And then you come back with Dystopia. It just makes no fucking sense. I don't know what they were thinking. This is the last album that had Chris Broderick on it and Sean Drover. And then they all left.
Yeah.
Some would say they had a mega reset.
Mega reset.
Dave hit the fucking
reset button.
Shot both of them into space. You'll never hear of them again.
Except for that band that they...
Yeah, Active Defiance. They're actually really good.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Supercollider's not good, man.
Nah.
I remember being on when that album came out. I just took a picture of it at FYE with my middle finger, giving it, put that on Facebook. People liked it. It's great.
It's also, we've gotten through the albums that you do not actually own.
Yes, I literally just, even when it comes to being like, oh, I own every Megadeth album, Iron Maiden, Metallica, whatever. I just can't bring myself to do it if they're bad, man. Like, it's been years since I've had every single Metallica album, and I have not bought Sand and Anger. I just can't spend money on something like that. I can't. So yeah, I don't own those 3 albums for sure. But let's move into. I think from here on out, these albums are at least good.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, they can go any which direction. We had them in varying orders when we're putting a list together. So, at number 12, we have The System Has Failed. Now, I think this is a solid album, and there's some good songs on here. I really like Die Dead Enough. I like The Scorpion of Mice and Men.
And Mice and Men
is good. There's some solid songs in here, and it gets back to more of the Youthanasia, Cryptic Writings era of Megadeth, I feel. Of more of a rock sound mixed with a more metal edge to it. But I think the album as a whole isn't up to snuff with any of those albums.
Yeah, like, it's mostly just, like, moments or songs on this album that are really good. Like Tyler said, Die Dead Enough is good. Of Mice and Men is good. I didn't mind Shadow of Death. That song's okay. Tears in a Vial was okay when I listened to it. This is another album where I was like, this was like, I'd never really listened to System Has Failed prior to this. Yeah. So, but it was like, my first impression is like, yeah, it's good. Mm-hmm. But I'm not 100% sure if this album could go any higher personally on this list.
I don't either, and it's but at least Megadeth got back to, a little bit more of who they are, a little bit more of a respectable sound.
Yeah.
Dave actually sounded fine on this album, so yeah. I mean, it has some jams on it, but it's not the best for sure. At number 11, we had their debut album, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good. I like this album a lot, and there's a lot of really good shit on here. The thing that I like the most is, like, Megadeth started because of the whole falling out with with Metallica, between Dave and everybody else and all that stuff. And the thing is with this album that I think is one of its more redeeming qualities is that, and it's obvious, they tried really hard to do everything better than Metallica. So they played faster, their riffs were more complicated, all that shit. I don't think it, like, when you stack Kill 'Em All compared to Killing Is My Business, like, to me there's no comparison there. But there's some solid jams on here. I mean, the title track is really good. The Skull Beneath My Skin, Rattlehead, I think those songs really, really are good. And then there's, Mechanics, which the Four Horsemen is just way better to me, but some might prefer the speed of Mechanics. But I like it for sure.
Yeah, I do enjoy this album. it's weird because it's one of those eras of Megadeth where then also comparing this album to the next two, which I would consider in the same era of Megadeth, which comparing it to Peace Sells and So Far So Good So What. And even though this is a very good album, it kind of lacks, I think, compared to those two, personally. Like, again, I like Killing Is My Business and a lot of the same songs that Tyler mentioned. I also like The Last Rites. I think that's a good opener to the album. I really like that song. And then These Boots is kind of funny to listen to because it's heavily censored because, you know, they changed the lyrics when they originally did it. Or at least in the version I listened to. I don't know if there's any copies out there that have the original uncensored version out there, which would be funny to find.
Yeah, I don't know if this disc might have it. Parental advisory.
Yeah, maybe. So
check that out. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, basically everything Tyler said. This album is good. I just personally feel that, like, it comparatively to other ones, like, I feel like sometimes doing, whereas that is a redeeming quality that they did that stuff where it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna just do everything, or more technical riffs and faster than Metallica. At the same time, it's like, when you're doing that for the sake of doing that, I think it kind of just brings things down a little bit, personally.
Yeah, especially in hindsight, to like knowing
where they go.
Yes, no, especially even what's directly after this album. To me, this album just definitely falls short of most. To be honest with it. So at number 10, we had So Far So Good So What. I actually had this pretty low on my list personally. Don't get me wrong, this album's not awful. There's some good fucking songs on here. I really like Set the World Afire. Mary Jane's interesting. In My Darkest Hour is obviously a classic. Hook and Mouth, I think, is so fucking just corny. I love the groove in that song and Dave's vocals and everything. That might be my favorite song on here, to be honest with you. And also that main riff, when the whole band kicks in, that main riff just fucking kicks ass. But this lineup was super short-lived. This was Dave Mustaine is just a drunken mess, and it kind of shows, to be honest with you. I mean, this album's just, I think when it comes to all 15 Megadeth albums, this might be one of the weirdest ones.
Yeah.
It is weird,
but the weirdness is why I actually really like.
Yeah, that's why some people really really enjoy.
I mean, the only track that I kind of don't have too much of an opinion on is 502. But like every other song, it's like I genuinely really like. Like I like Into the Lungs of Hell. Like that. I again, that's another example. I think Megadeth has very good intro songs to a lot of their albums, and Set the World Afire is cool. Anarchy in the UK, I just kind of like that they cover the Sex Pistols, and the song's okay. It's cool. Mary Jane, again, like Tyler said, is interesting. And then again, Hook and Mouth and In My Darkest Hour are easily the two best songs. And In My Darkest Hour is also really cool because in some ways it's a different kind of song than Megadeth had written up until this point. In a lot of ways, like, I mean, it's a little bit more emotionally driven in a lot of ways, whereas they kind of hadn't gone into that depths prior to this with Peace Sells and Killing Is My Business. So I think that kind of stands, that this is I really like this album because it's a great stepping point as to where they go next.
Yeah. And one thing about In My Darkest Hour too is it's almost like the most melodic that Megadeth was at the time. Like, that song is really really cool.
Yeah.
That I just love the driving of the rhythms in that song. It's fantastic. Also, just look how high quality this artwork is, man. I don't know if the camera can pick that up or not. Can't really see it too much, but everything is like super fucking blurry. It's great. Number 9, Endgame from 2009. So I think when we both got into Megadeth years ago, this was the first brand new album that they put out. I remember at the time.
Yeah.
You don't like this album.
I'm not the biggest fan of this album. It's a fine album. It's just, when I look, it's a kind of a similar kind of thing to when we were talking about Super Collider. It's because I really like both 13 and I really like United Abominations, which I think are probably two of the best examples of, like, here's the two different ways that Megadeth approaches writing albums, and here they are. And then there's this thing. it's like, and it kind of goes that thing that like I joke about like every time we talk about Megadeth. It's like follows that Dave Mustaine's vocal patterns where every other album he sounds good and then he sounds like shit and then he sounds good. This one, good God. I do not like the vocals on this album, but I mean there are fine songs. Like 1320 is pretty good. Dialectic Chaos is I do genuinely like. Of course, Head Crusher, which is like the one big song from this album, and then This Day We Fight was cool. But like, I feel this was like one of those things where I think because right around this time this album came out, 2009. Yeah, like right around the time that like Death Magnetic came out. And that album suffers by the same thing, where it's like I also am not the biggest fan of the production, but like I said, I this is just my personal opinion. We kind of hashed it out, and so like this is a fine album if this is your thing. It's just that again, like United Abominations is actually honestly one of my favorite Megadeth albums, and so then having this come after that, I'm just like, oh,
yeah.
It's a little bit of like because again when we started getting into Megadeth, this was their first new album, and I think that initial like, oh, this is not what I expected kind of still sits in. So maybe it's a personal bias of mine. But
I think I didn't like this album for a while. And it wasn't until recently that it kind of just started to click with me a little bit more. There's some solid shit on here. And I think one of the best things I like about this album, it is one of the biggest riff fest of an album. Like, especially for Megadeth, there are just riffs for fucking days on this album. It's kind of crazy when you listen to it. But there's some solid songs. I like 44 Minutes. I like, the guitar harmony during the chorus and all that stuff. That song's cool. Head Crusher is just a fantastic song. And that's a song that I wish Megadeth would play live. I think it just goes really well with their stuff that they play now, like with Dystopia and all that stuff. It's fantastic. The song, and then I really like the song "The Right to Go Insane" only because the verses, that the riffs during the verses of just the whole palm muting of the riff and everything, and the groove of it. It's like it's so fucking corny, but it's great. What's the song? It's either Bodies or Bite the Hand. I think it's Bite the Hand, where Dave Mustaine, one of the lines goes, TV dinners. And beer.
I think it's Bite the Hand. I'm pretty sure it's Bite the Hand.
I mean, Dave Mustaine. It's not an awful performance, but I just think bookended with United Abominations and 13, like vocally, this isn't the best, personally. But it's got some stuff. The song that I just really can't get behind, to be honest with you, it's weird and it just doesn't work for Megadeth. Is the hardest part of letting.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know.
That's a lot of the reason why I don't like this album. I just listen to that song. I'm just like, I don't like you. It's like, I can't get behind that song.
And that's one of the songs where I just personally feel, and this is my opinion, where Dave just doesn't sound good. It's just like, let it go. It's like the hardest part of letting go. Yeah. Great. Cryptic Writings. I bought it for $5.99. R.I.P. CD Warehouse. Fucking awesome
I forgot
place.
about that place. I only ever went there the one time. I only ever went there the one time with you and Sam, I think, and that was like the only time I was ever there.
Yeah, the place was great. Cryptic Writings, 1997, is a solid album, man. It's an album where I don't listen to this album a lot, but when I do, I like it a lot. And some of these songs are just honestly really underrated. I mean, the two biggest hits that are always talked about and played off this album are Trust and She-Wolf. Those songs are fantastic, but it's the other songs that I think make this album pretty cool. I like I'll Get Even, and I really like Use the Man. Use the Man's cool. I love the intro to Use the Man. Also, Almost Honest is goofy and fun. This is Megadeth, and they just have these vibes going on with like a few albums in a row, and then they just for some reason hard shift to something, and most of the time it doesn't work, and then they'll pick it back up with something different. It's like and this goes right along with Countdown to Extinction and Youthanasia. I think, with those albums, it's definitely third out of the three of them, but it is a good album for sure.
Yeah, this is one of those albums where it's almost like this album almost paints my perception of Megadeth in some ways. And the song that kind of vote, especially vocally, because the song "Almost Honest" kind of just paints where there's like I think 90% shares that song where there's like the two vocal tracks going, and one of them is Dave singing, and the other one's him just fucking doing his like growl voice, and I'm like, and that's just like painted my perception of how I think of Megadeth a lot of times. So like, and that's kind of why I do enjoy this album. There's like Trust and She-Wolf, of course. I also like Sin. Mm-hmm. Sin is a fun song to listen to, and like there's just a lot of underrated songs from this album. Like if this was like if they would have done this again for Risk, I feel like that then maybe we wouldn't talk about that album. Because with like Trust, which is like probably the Megadeth song that got the biggest radio wise, like it was a big song. It's everywhere. So I do thoroughly enjoy this album. Trust is cool because it's still Megadeth, yet it is poppy. Mm-hmm. Like it's not like any kind of sacrifice, which is you kind of lose a lot of times with bands when they're like, let's write a song we're gonna try to see if we can get this on the radio. Like they kind of lose themselves a little bit. But like I was like, oh yeah, that's Megadeth, the whole thing. And She-Wolf's really fucking cool. Yeah, it's probably my favorite song from the album. But
yeah, there's some solid guitar work on here. Like Trust has a fantastic guitar solo.
Oh yeah,
from Marty Friedman. I want to give a shout out to A Secret Place. That's a good song too. Secret place, I like to go. All right. At number 7 we have 13. 13's an interesting album. There's like multiple things on here. To me, there's the really just bad Megadeth, and then there's the really good Megadeth, all kind of thrown on the same album.
Yeah.
But I think its highs are really good. Like, really good. Especially, I fucking love the song Sudden Death. I think that is a amazing song. Public Enemy #1 is cool. I like Never Dead, and then you get Black Swan, which was supposed to be on United Abominations, but still, it's on here. That's a great song. And then Deadly Nightshade. Deadly Nightshade is so good. I love that guitar riff. Just hits hard. It's great. But then there's just some songs on here that I just really don't like, which is Fastlane, Wrecker,
Life in the Fast Lane,
Gun, Drugs, and Money. Just super corny shit. But
yeah, I definitely agree. This is probably this is probably one of my more favorite Megadeth albums, but that's mostly because again, like you said, where the highs are high. Like I'm just like I fucking love Black Swan.
Yeah, Black Swan's great.
Good. That could easily be probably my top 10 favorite Megadeth songs ever. Mm-hmm. Did we? No, yeah, we did do that. I think we did do that list at one point. I don't remember.
I don't remember.
We might have.
If not, that'd be cool to do too.
But like, and like just things, because like some of the songs, like they do this thing because I honestly find all the songs a little corny. Like a lot of them. Like especially like Public Enemy #1. Like that song's just like, but it's like it works, and it's just. I think in some ways, this is like the best post 2000 like of the quote unquote commercial Megadeth in some ways, because like I heard Public Enemy like on the radio a bunch and stuff like that. So like, because like maybe not anywhere near the other three that I would consider in that group, which would be Countdown, Youthanasia, and Cryptic Writings, but like I like a lot of the riffage on this album personally. Like again, the leads in Black Swan is what makes me like that song, and then Deadly Nightshade, and then the main riff of Public Enemy, and also Sudden Death and Never Dead. Never Dead was for a video game.
Sudden Death was for Guitar Hero Warriors.
But I think Never Dead was also made for a game called Never Dead. I'm pretty sure there was a game called Never Dead. And so I'm like, oh, so that's pretty cool. It's like these two things, and they just kind of throw them on here. Like half the albums from stuff from other albums.
Yeah.
like something I thought it was Black Swan, but I could be wrong. I thought like that was like from like when they were doing Youthanasia, like back from way back then.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these songs are like from, the 90s, which is like, wow, that's really cool that they still have this stuff and they found them.
I think that might have been Millennium.
Maybe.
I might look that up here.
Don't go me.
But
here I can do that. So while do you go on to the next one?
Yeah. So yeah, 13. Solid album. Check it out for sure. That was also the first album from when David Ellefson came back.
Yeah.
Which is cool. David Ellefson. Number 6, we have United Abominations from 2007. I bought this album for $9.99 used. I don't even know why I bought it, but it wasn't 2007. This album fucking destroys, dude.
Yep, you're right. Millennium of the Blind, Youthanasia. Yep, yeah. You're right.
So, with this album, I listened to it for the first time this week in a really long time. And I just forgot how good, I'm going to say the first 6 songs are on this album.
What are the first?
I love... This album just kills it when it opens up. It is really, really solid. And to me, the thing that makes it a little bit sad about this album is Megadeth just doesn't play any of these songs live. But there is some really good riffs on here. Sleepwalker is amazing. I love the chorus riff to Gears of War. Washington is Next, I think, is a really cool song. And then the chorus riff to United Abominations is amazing. And then they re-recorded A Tout Le Monde with Christina Scavia from Lacuna Coil, which I think is really good. Although, 2 things about that song to me. One, the solo isn't 100% the same, which bothers me, because I love that solo. It's still not bad, but still, the original solo is amazing. And 2, it's a little fast.
I'm okay with that.
Really?
I'm okay with the fastest. I almost... This was the first version of the... There's also painting my bias. This was the first version of the song that I heard.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's cool.
So I think that might point to the bias why I almost like this version better. I agree about the solo, and I also think that because they uptuned the song. I think uptuning it was a good decision, personally. But yeah. Yeah. You want to finish?
I just think it's great. I think it loses itself a little bit after Tout Le Monde, but man, that opening is just awesome. But there's some really corny, just Megadeth stuff on here, especially the opening to Gears of War is super corny.
Washington is Next is a corny.
Is corny.
Song.
The chorus, the lyrics to United Abominations is super corny, but it works and it's still really, really solid. So yeah.
Yeah, this is outside of. Maybe Dystopia. This is probably my favorite new Megadeth album that they put out. I loved almost all the songs on this album. Like Washington is Next is really cool. I like just one of the weird things with like the lyrics to that song and like the riffs. I also like right before the chorus he does like the tap on thing and he's like stretching like 10 frets to hit him. Like, all right, that's cool. Few people think of stuff like that. I like Never Walk Alone, A Call to Arms. I like that song. The song's interesting, but I like it. United Abominations is cool. Gears of War is cool, especially because this is the version that has lyrics to it. In the actual game, they don't use the lyrics at all. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, like I said my piece about the Tout Le Monde, I just like this album. This album also has, I think, my favorite Megadeth album. This is fucking awesome.
It is.
And a fan came up with that. That's the other awesome thing about it. So they had like a contest and a fan came up with that. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So I fucking just love this album so much. Like I said, it's one of my favorite new Megadeth albums.
Yeah. It brought me, gave me the feels listening to this album the other day. It's like, damn, it's good times. For 5. Countdown to Extinction. This is probably Megadeth's best-selling album, I believe. This is a good album.
Yeah.
So this follows Rest in Peace. This is Megadeth's first album to go a little bit more commercial and a little bit more radio-friendly and stuff, especially, at the time grunge started up. Metallica put the Black Album out, so Megadeth changed a little bit, but there's some still really, really good stuff on here. Opening up with Skin of My Teeth is amazing. And then probably Megadeth's most popular song, Symphony of Destruction, is on here, which that song still is great. I think that main riff hits like a truck, especially live. It's great. It's just super, super great. I love Foreclosure of a Dream. This Is My Life. I think those songs have some really solid riffage during the choruses, but by far the best song on this album to me is the title track. Title track's amazing. I think title track's one of the best songs they've ever written. I like it. I like this album a lot. It doesn't all hit, with like High Speed Dirt doesn't stick with me. Ashes in Your Mouth doesn't stick with me. And then Sweating Bullets.
This is the best song they've ever written.
I do not like that song. I think that song is awful in literally every single way except that riff in the center of the song. But everything about that song is just not great to me. But yeah, that's just my opinion. I know that is one of Megadeth's most popular songs, and a lot of people like it. It is a fun song. But it's not my thing.
It's a stupid fun song. Like I get it. Like the song's catchy in a lot of ways.
Spoiler alert: that other list we're working on, that's absolutely on that list.
Yeah. It's between that and Super Collider to me.
Yeah,
that's probably the two songs. Yeah, I had this album a little bit lower on my list, not because this is a bad album. It's just that we were kind of getting to the spot where, hey, all these albums are really good. You know what I mean? Mm. So, but there's Symphony of Destruction is what was the first Megadeth song I ever heard, and I think I was over here, hearing you guys play it. It's what the hell is this song? And then figure it out. And a lot of the songs like I said, Sweating Bullet can be a stupid fun song if you don't look at it too seriously. Foreclosure of a Dream is a cool song. Skin of My Teeth. Captive Honor is a stupid, corny fucking song, but I love it. It's
good. I did not like that song for the longest time, but it's good.
However the fuck I don't know how the riff goes. Again, this is just a cool album. I think that probably actually no, I forgot that probably a good shift. Like, I feel like this album could have very easily not done well too, with like all the risks that they take on this album. Going the more commercial rock. Because like Countdown to Extinction is a very cool song. It's also the first song to win like a humanitarian award, like the first song ever to win a humanitarian award. I'm like, wow, that's cool. I guess a band called Megadeth has that honor of having being the first band to do that, which is just a funny thought to me. But I like the production. This is one of the few times where that kind of just overblown production works, I think, on now. Because especially Symphony of Destruction, because like you said, that main riff hits, and it's just like, it's loud. But it helps with that.
Yeah. I, too, believe that this is Megadeth's highest charting album. They never had a number one album, but this went number 2. I bet Dave was really, really upset. Metallica over here is getting number 1 album. Here we kind of go a little bit more commercial, too, and man, we come up short.
Metallica also hits number 1 every time they take a shit. It seems like.
Pretty much. Number 4, we have Youthanasia. Personally, I feel that I bought this album for $6.99, RIP CD Warehouse. But I think these two albums just go back and forth. And to be honest with you, I like more of this album than I do Countdown to Extinction. Like, I enjoy this one more, to be honest with you. There's also this, along with United Abominations, I feel are the two albums that have like the most underrated Megadeth songs on it. I think Family Tree is an amazing song. Blood of Heroes is amazing. Addicted to Chaos, Reckoning Day. There is a really amazing group of songs on here. Everyone always just talks about Tu Le Monde, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but there's some good stuff on here, man. I just solid riffs, and just goofy riffs too, especially like Train of Consequences. The opening riff to that is just super goofy, but it's good. I think Dave Mustaine sounds really, really good on here, and a lot of the choruses just have these great vibes to them and energy to it. It's cool. I don't give a flying fuck about the last 2 songs on this album,
but Victory. he mentions a bunch of other song names from past albums. How can you not like it?
Yeah. But it's good.
Yeah, I agree. I do prefer this album over Countdown, and it's mostly again for a lot of the same songs that you mentioned. Like I said, "Tout le Monde" is, I think, probably my favorite. Either version is probably my favorite Megadeth song. Mm-hmm. It's definitely up there. "Addicted to Chaos" is really cool. I also really liked "I Thought I Knew It All," and I do like the title track "Euthanasia." Mm-hmm. Like it's this album is nice, and the production I feel like is also kind of weird on this album. I don't know how to describe it because it's not muddy and it doesn't sound bad, but like the production is, at least in my opinion, personal opinion, not as good as Countdown, but it works so much for this album. The fact that it just seems like this raw thing, especially again, Tout le Monde uses this very well because again that is a very like emotion driven song, and so the fact that it just seems raw and full of emotion just works. So this is probably not probably. I mean, this is like the best of commercial Megadeth.
I think so, definitely. Definitely as a whole, for sure.
Yeah.
Number 3, we have their new album, Dystopia. This album is amazing. I mean, it just gets back to old school Megadeth, but with a new modern Megadeth sound. It just packs a lot of punch, and there's some really great songs on here. Probably some of the better songs Megadeth's written in a long time, especially the title track. But this album, I mean, we reviewed it, so you can go check that out, but it kicks ass. It just does.
Yeah, with songs like The Threat Is Real, which is cool, Dystopia, Fatal Illusions, Poisonous Shadows. Those are all great songs. And it's also, this is like the heaviest Megadeth album that they've ever done, which is like nice, because Megadeth isn't a heavy band, like, at all. But probably the closest they got was in the Countdown, and that wasn't necessarily heavy, it was loud. But like, yeah, we like Tyler said, we reviewed this, you can check that out. But yeah, this fucking album, man.
Yeah. Well, number 2, I think the next 2 are pretty obvious. But number 2, we have Peace Sells and Who's Buying. This is probably one of the most classic albums ever written. It came out in 1986, which was an amazing year for metal, especially thrash metal. Just you had Rain and Blood by Slayer,
Master of Puppets,
Pleasure to Kill by Creator. I mean, there's a lot of albums that came out that year that was great. And this album's good, and it took a long time for me to really appreciate why people love this album so much. But when you do understand it, it really is an amazing album. It's a fun album to listen to. Peace Sells is one of the best Megadeth songs. I know it's one of the more popular ones, but it honestly is an amazing song. And I love the lyrics to that song. I think the lyrics are great. The verses are awesome. I think the song on here that I didn't get for the longest time, until I started seeing Megadeth live, and they play this song almost every time, it's Wake Up Dead. For the longest time, I would listen to Wake Up Dead and go like, I just don't like this too much. But then you watch Megadeth play that live, and how fucking heavy that riff is. And then it clicks with you. And you're like, this is great. But there's other songs on here that are great. Devil's Island, Good Morning Black Friday, I think are really good. It's a cool album. It's fun.
Oh yeah, like probably the first full Megadeth album I listened to. Again, Wake Up Dead's great. Peace Sells, that bass line is like one of the best bass lines ever written. I also think the chorus is probably one of the catchiest choruses that Megadeth ever wrote, and it's just awesome. The Conjuring's cool. I mean, it kind of sucks they don't play that live ever. You know, Devil's Island, Good Morning Black Friday. I think that is, even though it is a very popular song, I feel like that song also doesn't get the recognition that song is. That song is awesome. And again, Megadeth's thing of doing covers, all their first albums, they have I Ain't Superstitious on here, which is a cool song. Like, this is just, like, in some ways, this is the album where, again, we talked about it earlier, this Killing Is My Business, which kind of was just like, yeah, here, we can do it better. This is like, we're going to do our own thing, which is going to be possibly better. So, and, like, because this is all, like, just Megadeth. Like, it's fucking weird, complex riffs. songs that just kind of just go. They don't follow like a structure. It's awesome.
Yeah,
like a lot of it.
It is. It takes a little getting used to at first because it does, like you said, it just goes. It does.
Like Wake Up Dead, there's like 2 verses, and they're both very short, and then it's just riffs and solos, and it's like, oh, there you go, have fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just such a step up from their debut. It's amazing. I love the album art too. The album art's amazing. So yeah,
no surprise.
Pretty obvious. With Rust in Peace at number 1. I just think this is one of the best metal albums ever written.
There's not a bad song on this album.
There really is not. Even Dawn Patrol is cool.
Dawn Patrol is awesome, man. That's another great bass line. They just write good bass lines. I mean, fucking Holy Wars is another one of Megadeth's most popular. Holy Wars, Hangar 18 are probably the next 2 like most popular Megadeth songs. I really like Take No Prisoner. I think that song fucking jams. Mm-hmm. Five Magic and like the next 3 songs are all cool because they're like a little bit different compared to especially what they were doing on the past 3 albums. Tornado of Souls is like the coolest solo, one of the coolest solos ever, and then the title track is also funny, to listen to. But it's great. It's great. The riff is so stupid, but it's awesome.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and I love the riff during the chorus and everything. Yeah, God, that song's great. There's kind of just no explanation for this album. I mean, it's fucking thrash metal. It's just some of the best metal ever written, and it just kicks ass. Takes no fucking prisoners, man.
Take no shit.
Exactly. This album too has my favorite Megadeth song on it with Tornado of Souls, which I just think is the best thing that they've ever written. That song is one of those songs that just kind of goes, but all those riffs are like just godly. It's like and they flow so well. It's like, how the fuck did you come up with this? But then you have that solo, and this is the first album with Marty Friedman on it, and he just kicks ass. And the solos all over the place on here are great. And Holy Wars, Hangar 18, obviously. I mean, half the songs nothing but solos, but
yeah,
this album's amazing. That's
definitely.
it.
Yeah,
those are all 15 Megadeth albums in an order. Let us know your order. This was fun.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. It was interesting to just go back through and listen to Megadeth again, the good and the risk.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. Let us know your order. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.